All right, this next section is for those who have a good basic skill set and feel comfortable dribbling the ball. This is for more advanced dribbling practice. There's four main components that I want us to practice when it comes to advanced dribbling, and there's basically four pieces that I'm going to personally talk about in this video. The first one is keeping your head up while you dribble so that you can see and observe everything that's around you, survey the court. Secondly, have your bar arm up so that you can protect the ball when you're dribbling. Third, we're going to work on a crossover for a few reasons. And then the fourth is we're going to work on a between the legs dribble. Okay, so the first piece we're going to work on when it comes to our advanced dribbling is keeping our head up. This is super important. The best ball handlers and people that make plays always have their head up while they're dribbling. They can multitask, they can dribble, see the court around them. So I can see that when somebody comes to me, I can make a pass. I can constantly be surveying the floor. This is important. A good way to practice this would be to have an object that you constantly stare at. Like for instance, right now I'm staring at the other rim so that I know I'm not looking down at the ball, so I know that I'm keeping my head up. And I'll switch it over there, I'll switch it over here to another rim. And another good practice would be while you were dribbling, let's say Mr. Draper was back there and he was holding up his fingers. And so I have to keep my head up. And when he held up a 2, I'd have to tell him that he was holding up a 2. When he was holding up a 4, I'd have to tell him he was holding up a 4. Practices like that will help you keep your next. The next advanced practice that we're going to get into is having your bar arm up. Now your bar arm will look like this or like this when you're dribbling the ball. So when I'm dribbling the ball with my right hand, my left arm will be up so that if somebody was to try and pick the ball from me, somebody was to try and reach in and take the ball from me, they wouldn't be able to because my arm would be in the way to make sure they couldn't be there. Switch it to the left hand, same thing. Now my right arm would be up. We do this so that we can protect the ball. It's for ball protection, like I had said. However, it's important that when we have the ball here, we do not extend it out because that's an offensive foul, and that will go the other way and you will not keep the ball. So make sure we keep it here, but only here. Don't move forward with it, that's a foul. Okay, next we're gonna get to a little bit of our fancier dribbling, but it can be used for multiple things. We're gonna get into a crossover right here. There's a few very key points in a crossover. First things, we do not want to cross over high. Like this is very susceptible to being taken. This is very susceptible to be called a carry. What we want to do is keep our crossover very low. So down here, try and keep it below you. A good word of thumb or rule of thumb, is to keep it below your shins or below your knees. Keep it from your knees and below. So try and cross below your knees. And we'll use this crossover to change directions, to pull back, or to set up another move. So this crossover, you'll keep it low. Make sure you keep it close to your body so that if somebody reaches, they won't be able to get it. Keep it very close to your body. So, using it as a form of changing directions, if I was dribbling left, I can cross over and go to my right. Using it as a way of pulling back. Michael Jordan was really good about this if you wanted to watch film. Let's say that I was going right, and he'd pull back and set up into his jumper. Or you could pull back and go in the other direction. That was another way to use a crossover. And the last way, this is as you get really advanced and good with the ball, you can use it to set up another move. So I'll cross over and then get into another move, something like that. Or I'll cross over, go, cross over, come back. You can do a lot of things. You can set up a lot of other moves if you start with the crossover by lulling your defender to sleep. But the main way that we're going to use the crossover for the most part is as a change of directions, although we do have those other two options as you get more advanced in your game. This last key piece, or the key practice, advanced practice that we're going to work on in this particular video is the between the legs dribble. Now, very important piece, the first very important piece, make sure you bend your knees when you go between your legs. You don't want to be doing this. It won't work. You won't be able to change directions at the speed that you would like to. And you're very vulnerable, you're off balance, you don't have a good center of gravity like we talked about in the basic video. Whenever you're dribbling the basketball, it's always good that you have your knees bent. Now, moving forward with that, there's two ways that people teach the between the legs dribble. It can be taught one of two ways. The first easy way that I would suggest if you're not familiar with the dribble is to do what's called a jump stop. Which is what you land on 2 feet. So what you'll do with how you add the between the legs dribble with that is you'll jump stop in between the legs dribble right here. Jump stop between the legs dribble. So jump stop between the legs dribble, change directions. Explode out of your jump stops right here. Here. The other way that I personally prefer is just kind of a quick 1-2. 1-2, change directions. Push off with that back leg. So, if I was going left, I would step first with my right foot and cross between the legs with my left foot in front. Push off with this back foot so that I can move forward. If I was to go right, I would step first with my left foot to make the defender think I was going left, then cross between my legs with my right foot in front, push off with this back leg. And change directions that way. Now, like the crossover dribble, the between the legs dribble can be used for one of three things. It can be used to change directions, to pull back, or to set up another move. Now, for the most part, we're going to be using it to change directions. So like I had mentioned, if I was to go right, there. So it looked like I was going left, change to go right. If I was going right, between my legs, change to go left. Now, the way you use it as a pullback is if I was going right, a lot of the time, most people will use this kind of like a reverse between the legs. You'll pull back here. This can set up a jump shot. This can set up for you to go another direction. It can set up into your next move. So if I was doing that, if I was going left, Michael Jordan was really good at this as well. Pull back between my legs into my shot or my next move. Lastly, you can use the between the legs dribble as a setup dribble as well. This is what a lot of guys do in the NBA. James Harden is great about this. He goes between his legs to set up his defender, and it can be here, here, between, something like that. So you can set it up into a lot of different moves with the between the legs dribble. But like I had mentioned, mainly for the most part, for what we're familiar with, we're probably just going to use it to change directions. Change directions. And these are some of the things that you can practice when you already have a pretty basic skill set and you're trying to become a more advanced ball handler, a more advanced dribbler. You can use these 4 practices. You can practice some more things, but starting with this is a really good base to build upon your base.